before we get into those, let's play a quick game of our own. It's called subscribing. All you have to do to win is hit the button that says subscribe under this video. But you only have 3 seconds, so go, 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 go! Everyone, meet Gunpei Yokoi. He was working at Nintendo long before other more recognizable names at the company like Shigeru Miyamoto, and created several successful products for the company like the Ultra Hand and the Game & Watch series, which also inadvertently introduced the D-pad to the world, so you can thank him for that. Otherwise nowadays all our controls would have like a third joystick or something. I've seen a lot of people say that little woo thing is like a little hint that it won't have stick drift. I guess the other thing that would probably be announced is Metroid Prime 4. I saw a theory. A what? An H-bomb? A hydrogen bomb? What the fuck? Well, Gunpei Yokoi and his crew are still working on the Game Boy over in the corner. How you guys doing, by the way?
I told you to screw off, you weird dogman thing.
Awesome. Keep up the great work. This year, he had his sights set on the next generation of handheld gaming, a device that was basically an NES you could easily fit in your pocket, because yes, try as you might, it's not gonna work. I personally thought it would have been very Nintendo of them to call it like the Nintendo Snap, because you like snap the Joy-Cons on instead of sliding them in, but this also makes a lot of sense. Also, for another prediction, I hope it's $400 US. Hey, Marvin here. Nope. And not to get political, but it's probably gonna get worse. I hope it's not that expensive for me. Eddie Marvin again. Oof. But that's not all, folks, because Nintendo also decided this year to expand from video games and into printed media with magazines. So I'm not talking about Mario being on the cover of fucking crappies now. Look at Luigi back there. He looks so adorable. What the hell? You can grind rails like you're. Oh my god! You can play as a cow! Yeah, long before game companies put misleading CC trailers online for gamers to complain about on Twitter, you had to buy a magazine to get a text blurb about Golgo 13. And you'd be lucky if they included a screenshot. I popped off when this was shown in the trailer. I pogged in real life. They put Discord in the fucking Switch too. Jesus Christ. Am I based? So type exclamation I am based if it works. I am. Donkey Kong has a new redesign. It looks a bit more like the movie one, but I don't think we'll get Seth Rogen's voice will be coming out of this guy, thankfully. At the schematic, Evan. The schematic's name is Evan. And one more thing, if you guys want more instant updates, game discussions, and dank memes, then be sure to check out my new Discord server, link down below. I promise it's not a cult. Instead, the plot is about 2 goddesses, Palutena, the goddess of light, and Medusa, goddess of darkness. Though, not the hot snake-haired lady, back then she actually looked like this. Next up is another first entry in an iconic Nintendo series, Metroid, which, just like Mario and Zelda, has some of the most critically revered games of all time and has gone to influence the whole industry. But unlike Mario and Zelda, it can't sell shit. Alright, my name is Marvin, I am 3 years old, my address is 42069 Doghouse East, and my number is 4206969. The first is that this isn't a genre we haven't covered before. Visual novels, which I know is a genre that doesn't have the best reputation, but come on, it's Nintendo, early Nintendo especially, so I don't think we'll be seeing the worst it has to offer here. Now it's time for another double feature of games. It's the return of Ghost! Oh wow, another Japanese exclusive. How riveting. Although this time we're ditching the disc system for a bit to play some Ginga no Sanin. Dog, when I read that title, all I can think of is the Gunga Ginga guy. Also, this dating sim is kinda unique as far as I can tell. I'm not gonna bother to do research on this. The first one is actually an arcade game, also titled Punchout, where the character looks horrifically ugly. It then got a sequel a few months later titled Super Punchout, where you look less ugly, but still. And we finally got an NES version, originally titled Mike Tyson's Punchout, which not only makes several graphical changes, including making you not ugly, thank dog, but also adds the then heavyweight champion Tyson as the final boss, where all the ugliness was was transferred to him. Not that the real life Tyson is ugly, but this game does make him look very flattering. Your goal is as such. Write a 500-word essay on the thermodynamics of a pug and submit it this time next week. Oh, I mean, drive to the end. Ignore that last part. Now we have another interesting developer here, cause this is the first game published by Nintendo to be made by Rare. Yes, Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, grabbed by the ghoul that Rare. Now our next game is a port of a game originally published by Konami, and I'm sure that brings plenty of iconic franchises to mind. Metal Gear, Castlevania, Silent Hill, Contra, DDR, Suikoden, Bomberman. Well, how about Ping Pong? Anyone? No? Well, that's what Smash Ping Pong is, unless you thought this was cheese rolling or something. Now we have Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which, did you know that this game got reskinned? No! No! Don't even think about it! No! Yeah, I don't need to say the one fun fact about this game that everyone knows because, again, everyone knows it. And if you somehow don't know it, then what the hell are you doing here? This takes place a few years after the first Zelda, and starts off with Zelda herself deciding to pull an indefinite EP.
Here are some games from our publishing and development partners coming to Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, Elden Ring? Yeah. That was just a guess I threw out there. I didn't think they were actually gonna do it. Time to become maidenless. Then again, I never really liked soccer, or football if you want to get a really stupid reference about this, in the first place. Not as a kid when I was forced to by my mom, not now as an adult, and I certainly don't care about it in game form, good or not. I mean, do you want to sit in silence and watch a ball go up and down the court over and over again? Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's just move on already. But this would be much more enjoyable if the game didn't run like ass. I mean, have you seen an ass run? Okay, you get my point. It was much tougher to cheese the game with my soon-to-be patented kicker-upper technique. Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to that. I think it's about time I hung up my belt for good. What am I balloon fighting for? Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. At the very least, it's a more competent sports game, especially compared to something like 10-Yard Fight, and this thing has modes, like more than one. It has two.
Ready, down.
I mean, it's the first game in the Mario series, technically. It's the introduction of my boy Luigi, my precious little darling. Yeah, I know I give this a B in my other series, but after playing much more technically impressive platforms on the NES, yeah, this is just fine. But also the gameplay is get to the top of this screen, get to the top of this screen, pull up the pegs, monkey fall down, save the girl, do it again. Oh hey, I didn't get to use that joke in a while. Like, I only played half of the game, but if the puzzles when I stopped playing were any indication, you'll probably need an IQ of 4 duovingantillion, which I definitely don't have because I find that funny. And there's the technical limitations like being unable to aim down, or the fact the game
runs like piss when more than 3 things on screen, which somehow isn't as bad as running like ass.
But again, this game is hard, especially if you play on your own, so grab a buddy to dredge through this with you. It's probably more fun that way. I'll never know. 11. Ninja Gaiden! Hi! That always pops in my head when I think of these games. Thanks, Doug. If you don't know, even though I'm Canadian, I don't care for hockey. Sacrilege, I know. But for some reason, whenever I play a hockey video game, which has only happened like 3 times in my life at most, I actually have a good time. Maybe I am a true Canadian after all. Which makes the title kind of misleading, because while you do collect bombs, you don't use them as a weapon. You might as well just call him Mighty Jumping Jack. Actually, that might be dumber. And yeah, this is a really unique idea for the time, and it controls really well, which makes it pretty fun. It's just too bad it's hard as balls. The big gimmicks with this one are that it's a vertical shooter as opposed to horizontal, and all the enemies are super wacky. I mean, we got fruits and veggies, a frog's greatest enemy, kitchen utensils, sea creatures, and electrical equipment. Yeah, it's a shoot 'em up alright. Be prepared to get your ass kicked. And actually, one of the power-ups is just too good. And by that I mean that the speed-up power-up, which increases your movement speed, eventually makes you too fast if you get it enough times, and moving around would become overly sensitive and I constantly overcompensate. So I'd still say that if you somehow still haven't played this classic of classics, you should totally get on that. That wasn't a suggestion. That was an order. But overall, I'd say this would be a fun co-op session. If only I had friends to play with. Yeah, I'm as surprised that you are that Dr. Mario of all games is this high on the list, but it's honestly really fun and addicting. It's satisfying as all hell to match the colors, especially when you get just the right pill and manage to squeeze it in such a tight space. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal if you found the ending through this method, but still, making this more accessible outside of just looking up online is pretty sick. I'll just see myself out. But that's not all, cause this game also has a special variant. This drops you into the last world of the game with 35 lives and a Tanuki's nuts low of power-ups, which I definitely appreciate, cause honestly the last world can be a pain in the nuts. The joke is that Tanukis have big nuts. They did make a few changes to this one, like the track's now themed around an archaeological dig site, that's neat. The Pokies in the original were replaced by... There is no Shell Cup, Peach Stadium, and Bossing Say. In the bottom half, I thought these were the fuzzies from Yoshi's Island, and the track would start to warp around us as we went along. But I don't think Nintendo would want to promote psychedelics in their E for Everyone racing game. I mean, you could straight up pass over the bazaar the track is named after if you're good enough. Which I'm unfortunately not good enough, so I have to stay on the low ground. Instead of just remaking one Mario Circuit from the SNES game, they combined the first 3 into a segment track. They forgot Mario Circuit 4 though, rip in peace. I would like to place this higher, cause, you know, it's got the choo-choo train. Choo-choo! Choo-choo! I love the theme of this track. Being based off of Venice, it definitely wears its inspirations on its sleeves with the aesthetics and music. It's on point. But because it's based on Venice, you know what that means. A whole lot of water. Don't know fish, surprisingly. I mean, you got this glistening water section, and also the Aurora Borealis at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the open world, localized entirely within this track?
Yes.
But unfortunately, the actual track design isn't all too special, and there aren't really any good opportunities to railgun and such. Told you it was being carried.
Yes.
And in terms of new stuff, there's mainly some rails at the beginning that are fun to go down, and they allow you to do a cool trick that I was actually able to pull off. Once. And it's usually during this moment that the music really kicks in and makes you feel like you're going on a magical fantasy adventure. More like Absaboo cinema, am I right, fellas? My only real complaint is that the actual track layout is a bit too simple, but other than that, they executed the concept of this track beautifully. Finally, after 17 years, the legend returns! And yes, Mario Kart Wii is almost old enough to graduate high school. You may now proceed to feel old. A much better Dry Bones themed track than whatever was in the last game. The fact I can't even remember the name definitely says a lot. You can tell the track designers binge-watched Jurassic Park before making this one because the inspirations are totally obvious and my inner 5-year-old is ecstatic. But then the first actual segment of the track is alright. Still fun though because you get a speed boost towards the end. Then you show off into the one place uncorrupted by capitalism, space, and onto a space station. But just then, the choo-choo train comes back and there's a whole bunch of stuff riding on it now. Robo DK, cars on display, a motherfucking T-Rex! It's wild, and it cruises along with you as you twist and turn your way back down toward the starting ring, and that's a wrap on this magical ride. Well, to start, I need to select how many players there are, which is 1 because I am by myself, the number of computer players, which I'll max out at 3, the gang's all here, and the skill level, which I guess I'll crank up to very hard because I ain't no pussy, especially playing fucking Pictionary. Anyway, alongside this game, they created a new accessory for the Famicom and NES. We North Americans knew it as the Family Fun Fitness. Great name. Or so the game starts with you, the player character, wake up near an infamous clip with everyone's favorite running trope, amnesia. Amnesia, for when you desperately need a scapegoat for your plot. See, back in this game's native land of Weird Central, Nintendo made an accessory called the Famicom 3D system, and long story short, it allowed some Famicom games, and by some I mean 7, to do stereoscopic 3D. Yeah, you thought the Virtual Boy was their earliest attempt at this tech? Nope, they made this thing a whole 8 years earlier, and to show off the tech, they made this game compatible with it. It's also the only game they made with it in mind because the 3D system was a commercial failure. Wow, what a coinkydink. Man, if I had a nickel for every time an Advance Wars game released close to a real-world national tragedy, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. And what a game to end this off on, cause you'd think with me being a proud Canadian and all that I'd know a thing or two about ice hockey. Well, as I mentioned before, no, I don't. I don't even care for a sport normally, and I live in fear every day of the other Canadians finding out. Well, actually, this is a Famicom Disk System port of the original NES version with a few extra goodies, but first we gotta put in your personal information. Yeah, that's right.
I know where you live.
Rare's back, and this time they're behind the
Very tiny wheel.
RC Pro-Am. Now, as the title would suggest, wait, we're just hopping into it? Wait, hold on, I'm not ready. Whoa, what's going on? Mom, help! And all these guys inherit the same traits as their forebears. Meaning Mario's once again the all-rounder, Luigi's got hops with the added benefit of a lighter fall and animation that makes him look like he's out of a Tom and Jerry cartoon. Princess Toadstool's got no lines but compensates by defying all known laws of aviation like she's a bee or something. And Toad can barely jump with his stubby little legs, but he's also buff as shit. We're not done with the brothers yet, cause now there's 3 of them! What, have you not heard of the 3rd Mario brother, Antonio? Of course not. They don't talk about him anymore. Oh well, I'm sure it'll sit high on that throne, but how long will they have to wait until another game sits alongside it, or even surpasses it? Well, it certainly ain't gonna be Super Teen Games, that's for sure. But enough of playing with myself. Should phrase that better. And yeah, it's just Ice Climber again. Same old gameplay, same old bullshit. You would think that this fits better in an arcade since the difficulty is perfect for being a quarter muncher, but just because the stick is a perfect fit for your ass doesn't mean you should shove it in there. Damn, 2 bad games already. Can we get 1 more to round it out? Aw, hell yeah! 36, the Famicom. Wow, only 3 games, all of which are basically structured exactly the same. Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Popeye. Yeah, that's it. Nintendo's Native Land got 1 extra Virtual Boy game at launch, and it's a Bomberman Fallen Block puzzle game that you could find on a bunch of other consoles, all of which had actual color. Jeez, again with only 3 games. Hexite, The Shapes of Victory, whatever that is, Tetris, again, but DX, ooh, and Wario Land 2, which was also on regular Game Boy, but this version had more colors. Whoa, slow down, this is too exciting! But there is some good here. Trauma Center Second Opinion, Rayman Raving Rabbids, before they took over, Excite Truck, Wii Sports,
The GOAT! The GOAT!
and of course, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. They definitely calmed down when releasing the Wii U and PAL territories because it only had 21 games, so they definitely cut out some of the fat. Don't get me wrong, the DS eventually had a great library of games, though you wouldn't tell all too well from the launch lineup. Asphalt Urban GT anyone? How about Spider-Man 2? No, not that one. This one. But the rest are apparently just mediocre or straight up bad in the case of Pokemon Dash. Imagine putting your fellow man through that hell. It is kind of funny that the N64 is this high up on the list in retrospect, but Super Mario 64 is a hell of a drug, man. But Palutena ends up using the last 4 power to free some nerd locked away in the underworld named Pit. Yes, that Pit. And I mean, he's kind of a dork nowadays, but I mean, look at him pre-saccharification.
What the fuck?
So in the year 25, something terrible has happened. Ooh, looks like I can also write some sort of message. Location? Ooh, smiley face. And the message itself? Suck my neuter dick! Yeah, obviously this was a Japanese exclusive game, so the whole thing's in Japanese, but I don't know the language, and no English patch exists for this game, which makes it hard to play a game where the entire point is to read. Google Translate will only take me so far. I'm just gonna talk about these games together because other than some very slight differences, they both have the same gameplay loop, which is just... The plot of Gunga Ginga no Sanin is a pretty typical sci-fi story. The whole Earth becomes buddy-buddy with each other and explores the cosmos, and everything's all hunky-dory. That's how you know this is fictional. When suddenly, aliens. Who are you? Well, don't you know?
I'm Batman.
But that's just because he's meant to be the tutorial fight, and if you somehow manage to suck at this fight, you might as well return your cartridge to Blockbuster, cause you're not getting anywhere near Tyson's handsome mug. Now as you can see, we're back to a behind the car perspective, like F1 Race and Mach Rider, meaning we can inhale as much engine exhaust as we see fit. Now if, like me, you had no idea what slalom meant up until now, Merriam-Webster describes it as a timed race out on skis or in an automobile or kayak over a winding or zigzag course past a series of flags or markers. So basically this is a skiing racing game. Scoring gets you a point, and in Game A from the title screen, you have to get 11 points to win a round, while Game B has you get 21. All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros., where enemies are replaced with the heads of Japanese radio hosts. And that's all I'll be saying about this game, cause Nintendo didn't publish this one, and I want these nightmare creatures away from me. Link can do quick stabbing motions either at chest height or when crouched, which allows him to hit smaller enemies or normal sized ones right in the shins.
Let's slay some trees.
Okay, this looks like a cooperative, thing. What the hell? 1 second, I'm gonna refresh. Is it also doing this on my phone? Let me check.
The heck is this? Okay, this looks like some sort of... Oh! What? What's going on?
The stream is frozen. That's great. Nintendo, fix your garbage, please. Blue seems to be for household items and facial expressions, but for some reason there's also a vampire and a coffin? Was this a cry for help from Rare? I live on the top floor of an apartment building, and I'm not gonna risk me and my roommates getting evicted for the sake of a fucking YouTube video. Dog, I hate this game! In my defense, I don't think they can hear me do that. Firstly, her brother believes that Kiku didn't just die of old age, and he's the one that commissioned you to solve this mystery. Secondly, the estate is supposed to be passed down to an heir, but said heir is missing. Oh, and speaking of those checkpoints, you gotta get to those quick, cause if you don't before you hit the allotted time, the game will then take seconds from your time bank. Oh no, they're taking time from my time retirement fund! But now it's time to get serious, cause we're at war, damn it. But first, better make sure you set up your Spotify playlist. And you'd think you get to choose from some of the greatest players to ever play the sport, like Tim Horton. Oh, but if I don't win those, I could at least get a Super Mario Bros. 3 keyring. Cool, thanks. Now go into the vat of acid where you belong. And you better use them wisely, cause you gotta win. RC racing is serious business. Another change with these guys is that when they fall to 1 hit point, they turn into little babies. Aw, so cute. Do you want uppies? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The babies are transphobic. So I went and made myself a pre-recorded message and an AI that will replace words in said pre-recorded message when necessary. Here, I'll play it for you right now. The game Super Mario
Brothers 3
is widely considered to be the best game on the
Nintendo Entertainment System.
if not one of the greatest games of all time. I mean, it's the
Third
best-selling game on the
Nintendo Entertainment System.
with a whopping
17
million copies sold. That's roughly
27.459214999
of all
Nintendo Entertainment System.
owners. Pretty neat, huh? And finally, our opponent. And I later learned that these are the different difficulties, and I'd say they fit. Ollie certainly sounds like a pussy, so let's go with him to start. And I think it's the perfect opportunity to introduce you guys to my latest creations. Everyone, meet Hilly McHill-Hills Jr. and their siblings, Stray McStraight, Rippy McRamp, and Dirty McDirt. It could be because I've gotten used to the terrible controls, but I think it's also because some of these levels were piss easy. And as you know, piss is pretty easy. Unless you have a kidney stone. I am really fast. Well, I sure hope so. You are a horse. And I do mean climb, cause this is an action platformer where, at least in the first and third worlds, you have to climb some very long levels. So basically, it's like Ice Climber, but instead of climbing a mountain, you're climbing out of hell. And the Galactic Federation, which are basically space policemen, are scared that the space pirates will use this life form, which they're calling a Metroid,
There it is! There it is!
to create an army that'll destroy galactic civilization as they know it. Meanwhile, this game is actually about racing in a traditional sense, with other racers debating everything. And also, no one dies as far as I'm aware of. 8 years have gone by, and the kids have grown up, and we get to learn the defining characteristics of Gunpei Stupid Hikari Smort. There is multiplayer in both games, but US Course is pretty cool in this regard because it has 4 players rather than just 2. I'm sure this would have been fun back in the day, but I can't get very far with it because, like I mentioned before, I have no friends. Also, there's Mio, your suit's AI, which I think is just an in-universe explanation for stuff like the UI, and also a pretty face for you to look at. And hey, this is better than looking at nothing but just menus, and thankfully I don't have to stare at blue the whole time instead. But anyway, you make a new friend on your first day, Fathead. No, I'm not kidding, that's actually what he's called before we get his real name, but I'm just gonna keep calling him that from now on. And holding up and punching aims them high up into their faces. I'm guessing they wanted to be realistic by having no music be the default and pressing down as like you're switching radio stations. Well, if these were radio stations in real life, they'd suck. There's only 3 of them and they each play a single song on loop. It's like if you could only choose from one of 3 Spotify playlists and they each only had one Taylor Swift song apiece that looped indefinitely. Now the controls are simple. Left and right are obvious, down slows you down, up speeds you up while also giving a front row seat to that ass, and both A and B make you jump. You go so high in fact, that I'm pretty sure you'll be suspended under suspicion of using steroids. Definitely a unique way of attacking, and it's what made this game stand out when it was reskinned into Super Mario Bros. Damn it, I said the fact! Fuck! He has all kinds of spells, like Shield, which makes him take less damage, Jump, which lets him jump higher, Life, which restores his health, Fairy, which I thought spawned a fairy to also restore his health, but no, it turns him into one, Fire, which turns him into a wizard, motherfucker, Fireball! But wait till you see what's in green, cause that color is reserved for, of all things, weapons. As in things you kill people with. I'm talking swords, daggers, scythes, various types of firearms, bullets,
Bombs?
missiles, and even hydrogen
Bombs?
I'd start the game just fine, I can go through the menu, but when I start a minigame, silence. As a kid stands there and stares at me menacingly. Thirdly, everyone in the village seems to be convinced that the Irish family is cursed or something to rise from the dead, and that gets complicated by now you have to choose the island you'll do battle on, and the first one is called Bean. Well, I gotta pick that one. It's so much faster paced than any of the other sports games because you'll be zipping around the rink, hitting shots, missing, then the other team gets the puck and zips down to your side, and they pull an all of a sudden your goal. It's seriously exhilarating. Now compare this to, say, soccer. Oh, sorry, I fell asleep just watching this. Mario and Luigi are chilling out by some rural Japanese architecture, and a big pillar that says, Ochazuke Nori? What the hell is that? Rice soup seasoning? The hell does that have to do with Mario? Jesus, what is that? Okay, I think we lost it. Oh I can teleport! There's nowhere we can run! We're dead! Oh, okay, the game's starting. Thank dog. Apparently that thing's weak to American sewer systems. Now, okay, the game is fun, just zipping around the course and blowing other cars up, especially when you hit a speed pad and go zoom! And speaking of enemies, again, there is one new boss added that wasn't in Doki Doki Panic. Claw Grip. He throws rocks. Throw them back. The first big new addition is thrown at you right at the start of the game. A whole new world map. And then we have Belly Bump Ball. Just keep mashing as you push a ball down the track with your stomach. When's this one coming to the Olympics? No, seriously, it does ramp up in difficulty decently quickly for the first few levels, but then around level 14, I was able to beat a few levels in a row no problem. Then level 17 came around and shoved that pre-mentioned stick on my pre-mentioned ass, and the difficulty just keeps bobbing up and down all around like this is supposed to be a difficulty curve, not the stock market. Of course, you can probably guess what you have to do in these. Run in place a whole bunch. Make sure you put some force into it, really let your neighbors know. At the end of each world is some sort of labyrinth. Do you get the reference? So, they decide to hire bounty hunter Samus Aran. Aaron? Aaron? They hire Samus Aran Hansen.
This game sucks!
Now what you do in the races. You drive, what do you expect? The family ends up learning that a dragon is going across the country and turning people into soul-stealing onis. Wait, what? I meant to write Onis, but I'll correct it to Onus. What the hell is an Onus? JRPGs actually go as far back as 1982. Dragon D's Nuts Quest really just established a bunch of tropes in the genre, as well as popularized it on home consoles, and has gone on to be a popular, at least in Japan, and respected franchise, while Earth Fighter Rayquaza and Gokiki no Sanin were thrown into the pit of obscurity. Even though this is classified as a Dane sim, it still has stuff you'd expect from a visual novel. You can examine what's on screen, talk to characters, check any items you have, touch what? Oh! Yeah, pretty standard visual novel stuff. You have to wait for your opponent to attack first, then you have to dodge out of the way, and then you'll be open for a pummeling. Now speaking of loops, let's get on with the gameplay one. Simply put, you drive. And no, I'm not reusing the Ryan Gosling meme again because it was dated when I first used it and it's even more dated now. And also, GameFAQs lied to me again. Holding down when I go flying doesn't save me. Thanks, Peg Boy. There's also roots in the ground that you can pull out to attain the bane of frogs everywhere. vegetables. Seriously, fight a frog with a carrot. I'm sure you'd win. Warning, the Marvin Barkin YouTube channel does not condone animal cruelty, especially against frogs. Apparently, all these other guys also hate vegetables, so attack them with them as well. Warning, the Marvin Barkin YouTube channel does not... Spell! Yes, a spell named Spell. And it's only used once. Awesome. And Thunder, a screen nuke. That you only need to use once. Awesome. Of course, these are some awesome tools you can use with magic. I'm sure their take on steampunk will be very cool. Oh. Oh, hell yeah. You're a steampunk vampire. That's actually pretty cool. That was a weird looking... You're a fucking dinosaur! What the fuck? So yeah, just keep playing until you have one card of each color, and then you win, right? Nope, there's actually more, cause then your piece... And by heavens, I mean another board. Well, actually, I did manage to get it to work. Once. And I wasn't even recording it, dogdamn! Yeah, for the tech, I guess these would be pretty gruesome. You even find one body hanging from a noose. Nintendo, family fun for everyone. So each of these maps have a red side and a blue side. Yeah, if you game over, you can play a slot machine for a chance at a few more lives, and I'm guessing if you get a match of any of the brothers, you're good to go. Jesus, Mario, you're celebrating as your ass on fire. But then there's the biggest obstacle, yourself. Well, mainly it's the handling of your car. All of it was a dream. It's the usual cop-out ending, I know. But what I'm thinking about is the fact that we're never told he fell back asleep in between his two dreams. So does that mean he had this dream inside the first dream? Oh my god! Some we've seen before, like grass, dirt, ice, and sky, but some new ones for the time, like water, big, where everything's big, pipe with a lot of pipes, and hell, both figuratively and possibly literally. Then it's the water cross, where we gotta swim through some puddles. By doing the same thing we were already doing, or you can jump over the puddles. Damn, this kid's the next LeBron James. But other than the controls, there's two other major additions to this one. The first being a new enemy type, one that's based on something found all throughout the Himalayan mountains. Bees. And finally, we have the Olympics, which just makes you play the same 4 events in a row for a combined high score, and where malaria absolutely killed it. Yeah, not flying, cause you can't do that for some arbitrary reason. Gotta work those calves instead. And all over the place are various power-ups. Missiles that deal a lot of damage, energy tanks that'll increase your health, the morph ball that lets you curl up into a hamster ball and drop bombs. Thankfully, you can refill these meters by making a pit stop near the starting line, with help from Mario and his 5 identical twins. And while later that night, the kids are out having an existential crisis, wondering where they came from, damn it, they did it again! Onis end up showing up to the village, and if you can correctly guess what happens to their grandparents, you'll win $100! Just kidding, I'm broke. But anyway, that's enough babbling about golf for one day. I do think this is an improvement on the original game in several ways, but it's also just... Though sometimes when you jump, you'll get jumped by an alien. You bump into a girl in the hallway and whoa, Batman, back it up, give a girl her space! Oh, but by the way, it's not like they attack you out of nowhere. Most of the time. Hitting them lightly only slows you down a bit and knocks you backwards slightly. Hitting a car slightly harder will make you swerve to the left or right. And really ramming into a car will make you go whoop! And just to make it sting all the more, if you lose on any course, no second chances, game over, start the mountain over. Now, Rad Racer also does this, but you have to start the whole game over. But there's a continue cheat so you can keep going from where you left off. Not here though, f***er! Vegetables aren't the only thing you can pull out of the ground. There's also extra lives, magic lamps, bombs, whatever this thing is, and the world! There's also various towns littered about, where you can go into strangers' homes and they do... something to restore your health and magic. Mario. Oh, I heard him! I hear Mario! No, it's... Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong? What? 12. NES Open Tournament... This is Nintendo's first game, but by dog, it's certainly the best they did thus far. I'm actually having not a bad time with this, although this does feel like a game you'd only pop on every once in a while. Okay. Never mind! This game. Sure, it's on the Wikipedia list of Nintendo products, and the Nintendo Wiki lists as published by them in Europe. That's also all it has to say about this game. You have the cutest little infantrymen that you can send off to commit war crimes. They're pretty fast, and they have better racing lines than you, so there's a good chance that if you don't pick up grenades or use your weapons, you'll be left in the dust. Well, joke's on them, it means I can add to my dust collection. And they're filled with a wide variety of enemies that became mainstays right afterwards. Boos, chain chomps, dry bones that people want to smash for some reason, fire snakes, sniffer plants, parabeels, paragoombas, including the variant that throws its children at you, patooies, rocky wrenches, spike, not fishy bookins, shut up, thwumps, the literal sun, boom boom. Even back then he sucked, and the Koopalings, Bowser's 7 adopted children, and I gotta say, who proved him to be a father? And then there's the crab walk, where you put on a crab costume and sidewalk across the track? Screw belly bump ball, I want this in the next Olympics. It's still just ice climber at the end of the day, except now you could easily compete with others to get a high score. The best I got was number 9 as Deke. Got snakes, flying eyeball things, walking mushrooms. Colin. Just a guy named Colin. Cool. Caveman. And is that the Grim Reaper? The ice beam that'll freeze enemies, the wave beam that shoots through walls, the long beam that lets you shoot further, the high jump boost to let you jump higher, okay, cool, and the screw attack that lets you kill anything that touches you just by jumping. And you encounter a few fantastical creatures and monsters along the way, like the titular Oni, strangely this didn't autocorrect, a Kappa, some spoopy ghosts. If you choose to attack, you basically only have 2 options. Use your gun, which has unlimited ammo, or shoot some missiles, which you only have a limited number of, but can shoot up to 10 at a time. Then there's Masaomi. So later on you go home. Glass Joe is pathetic with super obvious tells and slow as hell moves. Seriously, why is he even in this profession? But of course, again, going this fast while going around corners is sure to make you go, what? Wait, this game is also outdated. And these are also full of unique enemies, a lot of which became Mario mainstays when this game got reskinned. Shy Guys, Sniffits, Ninjas,
Bombs?
and Pokies, though a lot of these are just one and dones, like a ladybug, a fish, a porcupine, a snake, and 3 different varieties of points! Sometimes you can go into their basement and meet an old man in the back where he, quote-unquote, teaches you spells. Wait, what's with the double entendre? That's exactly what he does. The fact you were thinking of something else makes me sick. Though it's still slightly lacking in content compared to future Mario games. Oh, wait, Google's AI overview is telling me that standard Pictionary games usually last around 90 minutes, so okay, this is definitely within that ballpark, I think. And when has Google's AI overview ever been wrong? Compounded by the fact the computer feels like it takes forever to finish a turn. All the while, it captures more territory, builds up more units, and proceeds to kick my ass! And it was on the lower difficulty! Because it's so arcadey, I doubt you'll be able to see all 32 tracks unless you're a dog-level capital G Gambus. And complementing those are some new power-ups, like the Tanuki Leaf, which gives him the power of slow falling and flight with a running start. It also makes him well endowed. Gotta put in my name again, which I misspelled and decided to run with it. I'm a Mario now, wahoo. See these hearts enemies drop when they die? Those aren't for your health. They're currency that you can use in the shops to buy things like glasses of wine that'll refill a portion of your health, bottles of the stuff that you'll automatically drink when you die to get some health back, though you can only carry 1, and a whole ass barrel to let you carry as many bottles of wine as you want. Jesus, I think Pit needs an intervention or something. And sometimes you'll find areas that you can't reach while exploring. Well, if you come back to that spot later with the right upgrade, you can reach that now. But on the other hand, this also isn't anything super mind-blowing. I don't know, I'm not one to critique stories, even though I'm a film student, so I'm pretty sure I should be able to. But if you manage to win, you'll get rewarded with experience, which if you get enough will increase your health, a chance of getting some spare missiles or energy, which are health refills that you use from your inventory, and this game's currency, which isn't like any fictional currency you might be thinking of. No, this is uranium, as in the stuff used in nuclear reactors and
Bombs?
And they just carry a bunch of this shit around with them. They're lucky they didn't keel over and succumb to cancer before the end of the game. That is, unless the aliens kill one of them first, in which case you're sent all the way back to Earth with half of your uranium gone. Honestly, that might be a bit of a mercy. It's a photo of Miho Nakayama, but not just any photo, it's a photo where she's holding a bunny charm. And I never mentioned this before because I didn't think it would be important, but Mizuho, the girl from school, has the exact same charm. What, no dramatic music? Hold on, I'll do it myself. But as you go along and fight other opponents, they'll get increasingly harder, with a great variety of moves to memorize and reaction windows that get tighter and tighter, to the point that you need to react within frames of an animation playing. Yes, it gets that tight. That's what she said. Though they generally get faster with every race, there can still be a few stragglers that happen to be driven by a grandma, so they'll be slower. And with rendering like this, they'll appear out of nowhere and whoop! Okay, I'm gonna start using that meme now. The one boss you'll see the most is the mini-boss of Birdo, and she's pretty easy. Just jump on the eggs he spits out, pick them up, and return to sender. Sometimes you'll also find knights in the basement that teach you your quote-unquote thrusts. And I do mean the double entendre there. But yeah, at the time, this was definitely the best game you could play with NSO, but now, just play the N64 one instead. But again, my brain is too small for this stuff, so unfortunately, this is getting another C rank for me. And I'm going to proceed to hide inside a real life tank so the Advance Wars fan can't get to me for my opinions. So I think this is getting a B rank. Dog, a lot of B's today. Do I have a beehive around here somewhere? Oh dog, I wasn't serious! Why is there no save feature? Not even a password system. Then again, this is only a problem on original hardware, back when you had to keep your system on overnight and hope your mom doesn't turn it off or something. Log hop, water cross, wall jump, run, just run before the demons get you! But how do you increase your health, you may be asking? Well, thankfully, you don't have to buy an upgrade or anything. Instead, you just need to kill a certain number of enemies in a level, and once that level is over, you get your upgrade. How many enemies do you have to kill? The game doesn't tell you, so you might as well kill them all! Metroid planted all the seeds that would eventually grow into what would be coined the Metroidvania subgenre, aka half of all indie games ever made. The two of them come across a destroyed house, and, looking through the rubble, they come across a bomb that Hikari wants nothing to do with. But Gunpei? Hell yeah, he'll carry one around in his back pocket, no problem. But anyway, if you've done what my guy told me to do first, you'll be at the moon to steal it, explore it. So now let's talk about what I like about this game. The concept behind the story ain't too bad. It is kinda neat that Nintendo teamed up with an actual celebrity to star in their game. And to be fair, as far as 8-bit graphics go, she is pretty cute, so they did nail that. Okay, now let's get into the negatives. I think you can see what you have to do. Punch them a bunch until they get knocked down, and the referee starts counting to 10. Oh hey, it's Mario again. If you figure out the right speed to go around corners, you'll pretty much always be able to drive past them, but they can change lanes. So you'll think you're going past them, but nope, they'll switch to your lane and you get bumped off course and... Okay, I swear that wasn't me. Well anyway, if you hit just about anything other than the snow piles, you'll instantly go whoop! God damn it, it doesn't even fit! Though this and the fact that she's also a recurring Mario character from this game makes her the most memorable boss, cause who remembers Fry Guy? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, the temples are one of the last things you can encounter in the overworld, and you may recognize the song from these. It's the song from Smash Bros! So I think I feel confident in giving Super Mario Bros. 3 the very first S rank of the series. What do you have to say after achieving this highest honor? Oh wait, you're an inanimate object, I forgot. And this time I lost to Jimmy since I chose him. Fucking Jimmy. I should do something about him before he grows up and becomes a talk show host. After you defeat the Mother Brain, which is a giant brain, the game is like, run bitch, run! Yeah, these kids, they can die. It's got to do with Blue, who's constantly hitting on her even though she doesn't reciprocate his feelings. And also... yeah, forget bullying, this dude belongs on a registry. I guess it should have been telling when Shin Onikanshima could be beat in 4 hours under the same conditions, and that was split into 2 floppies. I can't wait to get past the disc system, cause I don't want to have to keep saying floppies. Speaking of rounds, there's one more way you can win, and that's by basically sheer luck. But this all goes back to the timer. It is, as a wise man once said, tight, 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 yeah, blue, yellow, pink, wait, what? And of course, like your mother said last night, it gets tighter of each successful wait, that doesn't sound right either. See, plugging the plants in this negative dimension doesn't give you vegetables, but coins. Where do you use these coins? The casino, baby! Yeah, I'm not sure if you caught on to this by now, but I don't like hard games. Sure, I don't mind a bit of a challenge, and there are some cases where high difficulty can enhance a game like Punchout, but you won't see me gravitate towards fucking Sekiro. And good job, Ollie, you lost to nothing. How do you get these different endings? By going fast. It took me about 5.5 hours to finish this, though to be fair I was using a guide to help me for some of it, but I found a long play on YouTube that beat part 1 in under 2 hours. This Yamada-kun guy didn't upload part 2 as far as I know, but I'm guessing he could have beaten that whole thing in another 2 hours, meaning this whole thing can be beaten in under 4 hours. Firstly, you need to get in range of them. Slowly. While they fire at you. Very fair, guys. And once you get in range, then you can attack them. And honestly, if you want my advice, here's how you defeat them. Pump them full of missiles. Yeah, suffice to say, this screenplay ain't winning any awards. Which is tough, cause, again, dodging is slower, and also the state lasts longer if you get hit while in it. It's annoying sometimes, especially when you haven't fully learned the opponent's moves, but I guess you have to balance the game somehow. And so begins my negatives, though these are really just nitpicks, mostly caused by skill issues. And the bosses, oh, 2 of them I want to mention here because I hate them the most. Horsehead, from the first temple. He has a horse head. Can you guess what his weakness is? Well, good luck hitting it! And this time I wanted to call myself Malignant, because at this point that's how I felt. But I'm 1 letter off, so I guess I'll be a Malignant. The 4th reason I love this ending is because it's got a big old twist at the end. In endings 3, 4, and 5, Samus takes off parts of their suit and ends up revealing that they're a gamer's worst nightmare. A woman. But you also need to do a kinda convoluted quest that involves you destroying the other 3 ships, finding these 4 heart things, one of which is on Daemoon, but not the side you were first on, but on the back side, which you can't access without first getting to Daemoon normally, making 1 jump towards someplace else, and then immediately turning around and turn back to Daemoon. How is anyone supposed to find this out normally? And also getting this device that'll turn off a force field on this space station. But first going to this space station, so some pessimist dude can turn the device on, then once you go to this space station, the scientist there will tell you there's a super weapon that condemns the big alien ship, but it's on Pluto and requires a code that's different for every playthrough, so you get the weapon, go to the big ship, get in range again, and hit the win button. But we never talked about that on a phone call in-game, so where could this be coming from? But then it hit me. Sometimes when you do certain actions, depending on your opponent, you get a star. And when you have one, pressing star will pull off a move I haven't mentioned yet. A mighty uppercut! Yeah, it's kinda situational. Or ice physics, everyone's favorite! Though with that, you can do this. So I guess it ain't all bad. You have to hit his body, but he swings a mace around his body. And not only does he attack decently quick, but getting too close will damage you because of the mace. But like I mentioned before, the hitbox on the sword is the size of a toothpick. She's not only one of the first female protagonists in video games, but she's also a complete badass. A space bounty hunter that can take down a whole base of aliens by herself. And you probably don't know this about me, but I love a woman that can kick my ass. Time to celebrate with an epilogue.
But wait! There's more!
It's basically a 15-minute behind-the-scenes documentary kind of thing, showing Nakayama's day-to-day life around the time of the game's release. At least I assume that's what this is, cause I don't speak a lick of Japanese, and YouTube's auto-translate was no help. Now I will admit, some of this is definitely a skill issue. It's got some jank. Oh boy, does it have some jank! Let's run down the list, shall we? And don't worry, it's not a super long list. Yeah, I lied, that isn't the end. In actuality, a wormhole opened up after you destroyed that big ship, and you gotta go through it to bring the fight to the aliens. Now, finally, my final verdict. Yeah, I didn't like this one too much. Other than Tyson, who is real and therefore can hurt you, all your other opponents are fictional and based on different nationalities from around the world. And you can probably guess what that means. Cultural stereotypes. And finally, this game
slows down constantly, like holy shit.
And on the other side of the wormhole is another solar system, with more planets to explore, more bosses to fight, and more space jumping! Yippee! Piston Hondo is Japanese. I don't know how the Japanese can be racist against themselves, but Nintendo pulled it off. And that actually makes the platforming harder. Jesus. Space Jesus. Which not only means that it surprised me that Remy can still reach us with her psychic powers all the way out here, even managing to save us from a black hole at one point. Good dog, she actually is a dog. King Hippo is an islander tribesman, so he's fat. Yeah, I actually ended up reaching my self-enforced 10-hour limit on this one. Curse you, arbitrary limitations! So close to getting our first S, but hopefully we'll soon get a game that'll take that crown, or in this case, belt. And that's every Nintendo game from 1987. And what a weird year this was. 2 different golf games, 2 visual novels, one of which is one of the first dating sims with an actual human idol, 2 different racing games, a celebrity-endorsed boxing game, a licensed game based on a damn festival of all things that eventually became a Mario game, and the most unique Zelda game of all time. Damn, what a police lineup. Hello lovely humans, my name is Marvin, and thank you all for a great 2025. This was my first full year making content, and I definitely had fun learning and growing. I got my own Discord server, link in the description, made some new friends, tried out some new ideas, got to do some live streams to mixed results, and almost reached 500 subscribers. I shouldn't really care about numbers since I'm mostly doing this as a hobby as of right now, but the fact that almost 500 of you like my stuff enough to stick around really means a lot to me. Looking to 2026, I'm going to continue making content despite of what's probably going to be a busy final semester of my college classes and eventually a full-time film career. We're going to continue working on the yearly Nintendo and NSO games, and I also have 2 major projects I want to work on for this year. The first being the big Mario Kart video where I rank every official track ever conceived. I originally wanted it to be a 1,000 sub milestone video, but it's taking forever and I just want to get it done already. And one more big video that I want to keep a secret for now, though I will give a hint. It's related to a certain something's anniversary. Now that's all for this video, but before I go, it's time for a yearly tradition. Let's see how many times the Nintendo YouTuber said the word Nintendo. Roll the footage. Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, 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 Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo's, 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 Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo's, Nintendo, Nintendo's, Nintendo's, Nintendo, 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 Nintendo. Yeah, I included shorts this time because I wanted a big number, and boy did I get one. Alright, I'm gonna run now before the fireworks start and hurt my ears. I hope you guys enjoyed this year's content, and I'll see you in the new year. Peace!